What makes a car a hyperhatch? And also, why is it that we call cars hyperhatches rather than having like hot hatches, super hatches, and then hyper hatches? I really don't understand how the logic works there. Like, I get it, it's alliteration, but still. How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm talking about the 5 cheapest hot hatchbacks that will do 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds, which I would say is probably hyper hatch territory. You might disagree. Let me know in the comments down below. To reduce bias on my side, I've ordered these from slowest to fastest to 60, and any tires I've broken with brake horsepower figures. Don't forget I'm in the UK, so prices in your countries may differ, and obviously whenever you're buying a second-hand car, all of the important stuff like maintenance repairs is important to remember, as well as road tax, all that good stuff. Before we begin, let me know in the comments, what is your favorite hatchback? For me, it's probably the original Golf GTI. That just gets me going. What's yours? Let me know down below. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe for more weekly car content. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So the slowest car to 60 on this list with a time of 4.9 seconds is the F20 BMW M135i with its 3-litre inline-6 twin-scroll turbocharged engine, putting out a very respectable 315 brake horsepower to its rear wheels. The F20 is the second generation of the BMW 1 Series, with F20 referring to the 5-door and F21 referring to the 3-door equivalent. It began production in 2011 but was facelifted in 2015 to get new bumpers and lights, and the M135i got a little power increase of just 7 brake horsepower to match the M235i, before it was ultimately scrapped in 2016 for the M140i, which is just slightly more expensive. That engine is bigger than all the others on this list, so despite being the slowest car, it actually has plenty of torque, and owners note it being particularly capable in 3rd gear. The engine also sounds pretty good, which you love to see or hear, and a quick point to note is that the new M135i xDrive has a smaller 2-litre inline 4 block in it, which suggests this might be the last of the big engined rear-wheel drive BMW hot hatches. The 1 Series in the 125i guys actually had some success in racing, particularly in the British Touring Car Championship, where it won the Constructors, Teams and Drivers Championships under Colin Turkington in 2014, so clearly a capable car. To get into one of these, the minimum you'll find them listed for is around £11,000 with high mileage, making it the cheapest car on this list, but for a 2015 example with around 50,000 miles on the clock, you're looking at around £15,000. On reliability, owners on forums are generally very positive, with the two main issues I could see being a noisy automatic gearbox and a noisy fan, both of which were on early models and would likely have been sorted out under warranty, but worth checking on the model you're buying. In addition to this, a key theme that I could find was that these absolutely drink through oil, so something to be aware of. Overall, a very decent offering with a big engine and decent reliability, definitely a strong contender on this list. Next up we have another German hot hatch, the VW Golf R, which does 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds thanks to its 2-litre turbocharged inline 4 engine, which puts out 295 brake horsepower. This R is based on the Mark 7 Golf and is a successor of a very long line of VW R cars. The engine is actually the same as that in the GTI, but with some very punchy modifications to get that extra performance, including a modified cylinder head, pistons, valves all round, a larger intercooler and turbocharger, and an oil cooler if you go for a DSG model. The car is all-wheel drive, but it's a Haldex, so for average everyday use you'll find it in front-wheel drive only, with all-wheel drive kicking in when necessary. If spec'd from factory, they come with dynamic chassis control too, which gives it 3 suspension modes for stiffness depending on the situation. The VW emissions scandal put paid to what could have been an even more focused version of the R though, with the limited edition Golf R400 being rumoured in August 2015. They dropped this idea though to focus on the R when everything hit the fan with the scandal. These are listed for around £14,000 at the bare minimum, but for a 2015 model with 50,000 miles on the clock, you're looking at around £17,000. Owners are very positive generally about the R's reliability thus far, and the key issues I could find on forums were related to the infotainment system packing up and general build quality issues like moisture behind lights or whistles at high speeds from poor fitment. I think the key factor that makes you want to buy a Golf R though is the fact that it is a Golf, and a high performance one at that. Some people just can't turn that kind of formula down, myself included. In third we have a car that sits on the same VW MQB platform as the Golf R. It's the Audi S3, which will take you from 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds as as long as you get it in the automatic. It also has the exact same engine as the Golf R basically, with the 2-litre inline-4 turbocharged block putting out 295 brake horsepower. It's looking basically like a copy-paste job but with a premium Audi badge. I reckon that on a Friday afternoon the Audi execs were absolutely knackered and couldn't think of what to do, so they just grabbed an Audi badge, threw it on a Golf R, made it look a little bit more premium, and were like, yeah boys, that's it, we're done, let's go to the pub. And looking at the basics, the S3 is basically just a premium Golf R. Same engine, same Haldex all-wheel drive system, just named Quattro instead of 4Motion, same platform, same chassis controls, same fuel economy at around 29 miles per gallon on motorways and 21 in the city. It's just the same thing. The only real benefit of going for an S3 over an R was basically a spec option in the Bang & Olufsen sound system, which is about 350 more watts than the best option you can get on the R, but in reality they are genuinely very similar offerings. I've sadly never been in this generation of S3, but what I can tell you is that the reviews generally note it being a step below the M135i in terms of fun, in part because it's not got that rear-wheel drive appeal to skirt around corners with, but hot hatches were generally front-wheel drive cars anyway, so a part-time all-wheel drive car still makes sense, and you'll be laughing in adverse weather conditions. These are listed for a minimum of around £14,000, with £15,000 netting your 2013 example with around 50,000 miles on the clock. Similar to the Golf R, build quality issues seem to be the main theme when it comes to reliability, though the engine has remained generally strong other than a couple of reports of fuel pump issues. There are annoying trim rattles noted by many owners from the center console and the boot locking mechanism though. In terms of parts, both the R and S3 are very easy to get bits for, as so much is shared between VW Group cars. So yes, basically a slightly more premium Golf R. The choice between the two will ultimately come down to which badge you prefer and which you think looks better. Hold up for 2 seconds. If you're enjoying the video, make sure you hit the like button. I would appreciate it, and so would the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe if you're new, because like 80% of you aren't subscribed, which is carnage. And go follow me on Instagram at CarsWithJB. I post every single day, as you probably well know by now. Get over there, hit the follow button, and let's get back on with the video. Just missing out on the top spot, we have the only car on this list that isn't from Germany, the Subaru Impreza WRX STI 330S, which does 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds, matching the S3, but it puts out more horsepower at 325 from its 2.5 litre turbocharged flat 4 engine. The key thing everyone notes about this car is just how savagely fast it is. The Japanese executives again commissioned ProDrive to work their magic on the car and give it 29 brake horsepower over the standard STI and an additional 44 pound-feet of torque too, which comes as a result of some engine modifications and a pretty sizable new exhaust system. Thanks to this power and the proper all-wheel drive layout, as well as a limited slip diff, handling is supposed to be pretty insane. The car also comes with Recaro seats and stiffer ProDrive springs than the average STI, which is always a benefit. This was all to give the impression of it being even slightly reminiscent of the WRC hatchback Impreza that was boshing around rallies worldwide at the time. However, long-term Impreza owners have noted that though this is a very quick and capable car, when compared to some of the older special edition Imprezas, it isn't all that impressive. People also mention the brakes aren't as good as they should be, the fuel economy is poor, and there's an unnecessary amount of turbo lag. In terms of value for money though, this is probably the winner on this list, as they start at around 12.5 grand, with a 2009 with 50k costing around £14,000. And remembering this is a limited edition car, you are kinda laughing. But your laughing might end when you hear about the reliability. These are renowned for poor quality build materials with ultra thin body panels, and the 2.5 litre engine has had a few known issues which are pretty catastrophic, like ringlands and head gasket failures. Owners suggest keeping around 5 grand to one side in case something does happen, but from my perspective I might prefer to go for one of the other cars in this list for peace of mind. So a great idea in terms of performance and a poor idea in terms of your wallet after a few years of ownership. My personal opinion is that I'd go for an older Scooby anyway, as I've never liked the hatchback particularly. Taking the top spot is the most expensive but also probably the most impressive car on this list. The Mercedes-Benz A45 AMG is a certified beast of the hot hatch game, with a 0 to 60 time of 4.5 seconds and a brake horsepower figure of 354, as well as 450 Nm of torque from a 2 litre twin-scroll turbocharged inline-4 engine. Absolutely incredible figures. Based on the 3rd generation A-Class A-Class, this is the first properly performance-focused A-Class of the bunch, as the previous generations were a little less desirable, to put it nicely. The previous two gens were both classed as super minis, whereas this gen was in the small family car class, meaning that the A45 is at least classified as a practical family car despite its exceptional performance. Part of that performance comes from the fact that it's all-wheel drive, with the Mercedes 4MATIC system attached, which is pretty intelligent in how it applies torque to the four wheels. You obviously also get all the expected sporty parts of the car too for performance, like suspension, braking, and the ESP Sport handling mode. One stat that often gets bandied about in relation to this car is that it has the same specific output as the Bugatti Chiron. Not bad company to be in. I also can't talk about this car without mentioning the aero pack, which some people fondly refer to as the ASBO kit, which will probably only make sense to my British audience. The key thing about this pack though is that cars with it on are generally seen as more desirable, and have therefore held their value better. As I said, these are still relatively expensive compared to the other cars on this list, with the cheapest examples listed at around 18.5 grand, whilst £20,000 will get you a 2014 example with around 50,000 miles on the clock. According to Mercedes service experts, these are generally reasonable cars on reliability as long as they've been looked after properly. If they haven't, then a few issues are known, with the turbos wearing early on early models, though again these were mostly replaced under warranty, so check service stamps. Also worth checking if gearboxes have needed replacing, as again some early models had to have this done, and sometimes more than once. Outside of this though, I couldn't find too many issues, which is a pretty good sign. Not gonna lie, I actually really like this car. An ideal 2-car garage to replace my current setup would be one of these as a daily and an Alfa Romeo 4C as my fun car. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to hit the like button, as I would really appreciate it. Comment down below as well what your favourite hatchback is. Subscribe if you're new. And what else do I need to say at the end of a video? Oh yeah, a big thank you to the patrons that continue to support. I really do appreciate it. And I also appreciate all of you guys for watching. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Listen.